coming up on today's episode.
Welcome back once again, YouTube, here at the workshop. And we're going to hear some noise here in a minute. Second. Oh, there it was, right there. That is that. And you know what time of the year it is. It's time to change batteries. Well, we go back down here. I can't get to it. So, my project today is for this to go away. And for that to get cleaned off, and you can see my Pi running there on top of the bench. That's going to get moved over to this spot right here. And I've got this quite a bit of work to be done here. Not only the smoke detector, but all this other stuff I've got to do. So I won't be filming all of it, but some of it you'll get to see, and we'll get to it. So that's going to be my first project, getting rid of that noise, because I can pretty much drown it out in my room if at night, because I run a fan and stuff like that, so I don't hear it. But during the day, if I sit in the living room, I can still hear it even with the door shut. So that's the project I want to get done most first, is get that cleaned out so I can get the batteries. I have batteries for it. The one in my bedroom also needs changing, so, and that only leaves one more in the kitchen, so I might as well go for the trifecta, as they say, and get them all. But that one won't be done today, just this one today. So alright, let's get to it. Alright, we have the project moving ahead here. We got it this far. Now I couldn't get the up on the stool. I couldn't get the battery out from the connector, the battery connector. So I thought we'd bring her down here and do it. Get these batteries opened up. Jeez, oh Pete! Wow, that's something. So this, again, like I say, that's what I'm trying to do, is get that out. And you may question my use of off-brand CVS in this case. Great value in this case. Batteries, but I found these things last just fine, and especially in stuff like this. And so that's why I did that. And there, that is in position. And we'll actually put it back where it's supposed to be. And there you go. That is done. So now all I do is put that back up where it goes, plug it back in to its little electric plug. And I do understand why they have to do electric and battery on these, because if you're in a fire situation where sometimes the electric goes out or whatever, you need a battery operated smoke detector. So I understand that, and these have lasted pretty good. Now, I know it's been at least 2 years since I replaced this. Maybe even longer, I'm not really sure. I generally go until they start beeping, and that's my reminder that it's time to change them. So let's get this back up on the, what do you call it, and then it's obviously not beeping anymore, so get that done, and then we'll get back to what we're doing over here. Like I said, I want to get all this cleared off, get the Pi back over where it's going to be at permanently, which is on that shelf I pointed out. And get the, I have a Ethernet switch I need to route over there, and get that done. And just a couple more things to do here to get all this done at the same time. So that's the plan. So let me get to it, and we'll get back to you in a minute or two. Alright, well, in addition to the smoke alarm, I now have all this moved over. Everything is hooked up as it should be. It all goes through the switch there, you can see on top of the D-Link. And every port is full. Basically, I have the D-Link plugged in there. I have my shop computer plugged in there. Have the Pi NAS plugged in there. And I have the HP plugged in there. So, and the last cable goes to the router to make the connection. So there you go. That was exactly what I wanted to do. Obviously, I'll come back at a later date and straighten up some of the cabling. I'm not really great at reaching above my head like that, and I'll have to come back and get that. It's in there. I had the one in my room hanging there for I don't know how long. It never was put back up. I figured why put it back up there, you just got to get it back down again and replace the battery. So it works there just as good as it does up against the ceiling. It's plugged in. And lastly, that brings us to the final point here. I have at least a modicum space here in front of the, or not in front of it, but on the end of the bench. I clean this crap up, but other than that, I can get in here and work on something if I need to, and that's what I need to do. So, without further ado, let's get to that, and we'll bring you right back and show you what we're doing. Alright, well, what you can see here is the, I thought I was recording, but apparently I was not. So, I have already taken the Dremel and cut this as it should be, and I'm going to take these pliers and stick in here and see if I can break that piece off. Maybe. That would be the ticket. Like that. That's what I wanted to do. Now I could probably clean that up a little bit with the, what do you call it? I think. See if we can. Nah, it's just not going to get in there. I'm going to have to use another tool. Another tool. But anyway, it does. I think it's probably big enough as it is, but I'd like to make it even if I can. And I could take one of those router type bits, groove that out a little bit. I think that would make it kind of like that in, actually. That would be the ticket. I've got some router bits right here. Alright, let's start cleaning this up. That looks pretty good. I'm not the best with a bit like this, but there we go. That should be just fine. Let's see if I get a little closer. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Like I say, perfect, but it needs a little bit more out here. But you know, if I do that, and then I'm going to get this off, and then I'm going to have to go back the other side, and I think that's just fine like it is. See what we can see here on this end. See if we can see through it. Oh yeah. There you go. That's it. That's the ticket, as they say. But yeah, that'll be fine to get that cord through. And now, I don't know if anybody caught it, but Greg and I, of Greg's Vintage Workshop, was talking about putting an insert here, 3D printed insert in here, and have it where I could just stick the little SSDs in here, have them connect, and then put the thing up and change them out if I wanted to. And I think that's eventually what I'm going to shoot for. I do have parts on the way. I think I mentioned that in the previous video. I wasn't specific as what they were for, but that was the plan. And the problem I'm seeing, it's not so much, well, yeah, it is. They go in, this compartment here goes in at angles like that, and it also is angled on each side like that. So that may be a problem. But there's also a possibility of just making it a certain size and then drilling some holes in that back and attaching it to the back where it would just stay there. And like I said, as long as the drive is here where I can grab a hold of it, pull it out, and then push a new one back in, that's all I really need to worry about. So there's the other part of that thing that got broke. So I was wanting to fix that, but I can't get that white piece out. And so, I don't know, we'll see. But I think that's going to do this part of it. And the other part is getting this, again, with some, I think, like I said, if it comes from here to here, I think that would be perfect. And I think those strips, maybe a half of a strip would make enough to go in here to hold that. And it doesn't have to be exactly right on the end or anything like that. It can be in here in the middle somewhere. I just need something good to hold on to where it would stay. And both sides, you see, there's the other side of the equation. There is here. So there's not a lot there. I may have to flatten that off a little bit. That really won't matter because you won't see that when it's in the dash. You don't see out down that far, so that might be the way to go there. So let me, the only other alternative I was thinking was in the middle, right here, but there's a space there though that's missing. It's just a real thin piece, and then on this side it's got looks like a bump stop here. And I know you're not seeing that, but there's like a little felt bump stop there, so I don't know that would, I think that's just to keep it from making a clanging noise when it shuts, but it does that anyway, so really no sense in worry about that. Now the other alternative is this. Put a piece here, put a piece right there on that tip. Well, that would work, but I'm afraid over time, or not over time, but at first, especially before that gets good time to adhere, that would just pull off the Velcro is stronger than the glue, basically is what I'm saying. We can try that first and see, and if it doesn't work, well, we can go, or we can try the other one first, and one way or the other, we can get the job done. I'm thinking this one would probably be the best one because if we look at it again, all this space here can stick. That'll make the thing stick, and this will just stick out a little further than the rest of it. But again, I think that would make it stick good. So let's try that first and see. I'm gonna go ahead and I've got some alcohol here. I want to clean that off real good and make sure it's got good stuff to stick to, and we'll go from there. We'll be right back. All right. Well, I have it Velcroed, as they say. It's not perfect, but I think it'll keep it from coming apart. As you can see, it does stick. So that part is good. I did put on here first, but that didn't stick very well, this here. So I put a piece on each side of this, and I think that sticks much better. As you can see, it pretty much pulls it off, but again, it's there enough to where I think it'll eventually stick to it. That sticky gets stickier, I think, as time goes on, because I had a heck of a time just getting it off the plastic. So, probably put something on there just to hold that tight, and let it get good and cured, and we'll go from there. And I didn't put any alcohol on that either, so maybe that would have helped, but and again, it's not a big deal. Really, I think that's about all I had to do to this. I think the only other thing I've got to do is get the player, the head unit, back into its holder. And there were some screws missing on that. Not missing, but they pulled out of the sides, and I'm going to try to find some way of holding those back in where they won't come back out. Not that it, you couldn't even tell it from being in a car. I mean, you wouldn't have known it happened, but once I took it out, I could see that did happen. So again, like I said, that's what we're going to do. So I need to go out to the car and get the radio and the little cage and everything for it. And we'll come back a little later, so we'll join you then. Alright, well, we're moving on to the last one I had to do today. Is to basically fix the head unit in its mounting bracket. I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but when I took it out of the car, I noticed that the other side, not this side, but this side, had pulled out. The screws had just went through it and pulled out of the holes, and it was basically was flopping when I pulled it out. Now, obviously, you couldn't tell it because it was in there. You know, after it gets in there, it stays in there. It's not moving around too much, but as soon as you take it out, you realize that that's what's going on. And so basically, I had to fix that. Now, the way I fixed it, this is a larger hole here. I had to make a larger hole to get it lined up. And I found one longer screw that I could put a washer behind and get a good bite on it and do that. Now, this one I've got a washer too, but it's just this really thin one. It's got a large hole too. Both of them had pulled out, but it is in there good and tight now. And like I said, the other side was fine. I didn't have to cut any extra special holes for it, so that works good. And again, that's how it mounts. It mounts to basically these 4 screws here, and I've got screws coming for this. Hopefully that will fit. I got the correct size, I think, because I found a website that listed the radio parts and things like that, and I think they were, I don't remember exactly what they were, but they were 16 millimeters long, and that basically I think is like 3/4 of an inch, something like that. And that's what I ordered. It was number 10s at 3/4 of an inch, and I think that's gonna just about match up pretty good with what we've got there. So happy about that. And like I said, I just wanted to make sure when I put this back in it it would not have to be taken out again. I've also tightened this up as best I can. I'll tighten that GPS antenna. That's where the regular antenna fits. And of course, one of these slots is where I'll put the new cable, and that is the only thing I have to put on the back besides the plug where the power and speakers hook up over here. This is the one for the backup camera right here, and that's got to go back in. But everything else is just still in the car. It stays in the car. So happy with the way that's working there. And like I said, we're all just basically waiting on parts now. And once that comes in, we can go ahead and put this back in. And that will be it. Now, I think there's a cover for this, if I ain't mistaken. I'm pretty darn sure. It's probably in the car somewhere. There's a cover that goes over that, and I want to put that back on. So anyway, again, that is, yeah, that's going to work just fine. And I'm happy with the way that looks, and it looks good. And like I said, I'm going to clean that screen. I can see it's kind of got some spots on it. I don't think there's any protector on that. I'll have to check, but I don't think there is. I think it just needs a good cleaning. Get some glass cleaner or Windex something and put on there and clean that. But that should do me on this this video. That's what I was trying to do, was get this all done. Parts will be in this coming week. This being Sunday, it'll start tomorrow. I think we're getting some things. I don't know if it'll be anything related to this, but I know I have some things coming. And again, like I say, the screws I think I ordered to mount it with. Now that's another thing. There's two. I've got 2 screws now to mount it with. I can put it in there with 2. It will stay. It won't come out. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and use the screws I've got and just put it in with that, unless the other ones happen to come in before I do it. The thing I am waiting on is the cable for the USB, little 1.5 foot extension cable that goes in there. And once that shows up, I can remount this and put that back in and get everything all buttoned back up again. and I'll just basically stick the cable through the slot that I made earlier in the video and let it dangle in there. And like I said, that just leaves the hooking that up, and yeah, that's about it really. Not too much else to it. So again, like I say, that all I have to do to get the other screw in, the other two screws in, is to take this piece off that I had to modify with that slot. That once that comes off, then you can get to all the rest of this in there. So, and that's what I'll do. I'll take and put the other two screws in. That way it'll be in there really good and tight. And I shouldn't. I say this with a smile on my face. I shouldn't have to take it apart anymore. Yeah, you guys know how that goes. But that's one of the reasons I bought those screws. There's, I think, 13 screws in there. I think it was $2.95, something like. It was actually cheaper to buy them online than it was to order them through Home Depot. And even if I went down and picked them up, it would have been cheaper. So, because it was free shipping. But anyway, like I said, there were 6 something, I think, in there. And anyway, it was going to be either the same price or whatever. And I prefer to, instead of having to go to the store and pick something up, I just have it come to me. It's easier to do, especially for the same price. So, anywho, that's that. Like I said, I'm talking. But again, overall, I am happy. I have been happy with this head unit, radio, whatever you want to call it. And it's worked out well for me. And so far, knock on wood, if that is wood, something in there's wood, I'm sure. But like I said, it has worked out. Hopefully, this trend that I'm on right now, I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've actually gotten some things done. And again, this week, coming up this week, I've got to get ready for our trip on Saturday. I posed the question on what time we'll be leaving Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon or whenever it was, and that's still an unknown quantity, as they say. So hard to plan for something if you don't know when you're leaving. I guess just be ready, and you know, if it's earlier or later or whatever it is, you'll be ready. So that's the way I look at it. So. Like I say, you guys have a great day. Thank you so very much for watching, and we will see ya.